Baseball, apple pie, and undeclared wars. Is there anything more American than fighting conflicts without declaring them as such? But I'm getting ahead of myself. Hello, and welcome to History in Focus, your one-stop shop for the stuff they didn't teach you in school. This week we'll be focusing in on one of the most significant conflicts in American history you probably have never heard of. Just remember to give freedom a ring and hit that subscribe button. So let's set the stage, shall we? The year is 1793, and France is in the throes of its revolution, having executed its monarch earlier in January and fighting against most of the great powers of Europe, notably the Holy Roman Empire, Great Britain, Spain, and Prussia. In a bid to protect its colonies in the Caribbean, France asks its new ally, the United States, for help, citing its treaty obligations in the alliance France had made with the United States during its own revolution, or at the very least increase its loan payments to France. While certainly there was public support to aid France among the common people, President George Washington was weary to involve the new nation in a conflict with European powers. At the time, the United States had a small army and basically no navy to speak of. Plus, the ability of New England merchants to avoid the English blockade due to neutrality allowed them to rake in huge sums of money. Thus, George Washington made it plain to France that while the Treaty of Alliance was technically still in effect, the payments America owed were to a French monarchy that no longer existed, and the treaty only applied to defensive conflicts. Remember how I mentioned the United States didn't have a navy? All that changed in 1794, because of this group of pirate nations in the Mediterranean that called itself the Barbary States. Basically, they would support pirates and privateers who raided merchants. In order to avoid these raids, nations would be required to pay sums of money to the pirate states, essentially a protection racket. Now that the United States wasn't protected by Great Britain, it would have to protect itself. Thus, on March 27, 1794, George Washington signed the Naval Act of 1794, authorizing the construction of 6 frigates for the defense of the United States merchant ships and the nation itself. Before we go any further, it is critical to understand what a frigate is, and what made these 6 frigates unique for the times. At this time, a traditional frigate was a warship with a singular gun deck with around 26 to 32 cannons designed to harass enemy shipping, scout for fleets, and engage in one-on-one actions with other frigates. Most of the navies of the world had frigates of varying designs, but rarely were these considered to be capital or important ships. The United States had a different approach to this philosophy, however. Recognizing that building a large fleet of capital ships would take too long and be too costly, it was decided that 6 frigates carrying anywhere from 36 to 44 cannons would be built instead. Secretary of War Henry Knox decided to use the designs of Joshua Humphreys, a shipbuilder in Pennsylvania. His designs called for ships that would be bigger, tougher, and stronger than almost any other European frigate of the time, with an emphasis placed on speed and durability. The ships would be constructed from durable materials, namely live oak and white pine. The frigates would be given the following names: United States, Constitution, Constellation, President, Chesapeake, and Congress. Let's return to 1794. In November, the United States and Great Britain signed the Jay Treaty, which was designed to clear up remaining outstanding issues from the end of the American Revolution. The treaty also outlined a new trade agreement. This pissed off France, who, in 1796, began to seize American shipping en masse. If you flew the Stars and Stripes, you had a big target painted on your bow. By 1797, 316 American ships representing 6% of the United States merchant fleet had been seized, and their goods along with them by French privateers. It seemed war was all but certain. But newly inaugurated President John Adams sat down and decided that one last diplomatic mission of peace would be attempted. He sent 3 negotiators to meet with the French government and find resolution to end this assault on American merchants. When the diplomats arrived in France, they were shunned, cast aside, and unable to speak with anyone important. The foreign minister at the time was a certain Monsieur Charles Talleyrand, who was colorfully described by one Napoleon Bonaparte as shit in a silk stocking, and he wanted money. Not money to end the raids, oh no. Money to talk to him, in what became known as the XYZ affair, named after 3 of Talleyrand's colleagues. The American diplomats would have to pay to get a seat at the table, so naturally they didn't. And then they told President Adams, who promptly told Congress, who promptly had that report leaked to the public, who promptly were pissed. The stage was set. America was going to war. Sorta. If you enjoyed this week's content, please subscribe for future videos. Let us know what you thought in the comments below and what you would like us to cover next.